रिकॉर्ड करके सौमेंदा को दे दूंगा. All right. So, yeah. So Sanjay, tell me about yourself, which I do not know. Let's say I have your resume. I have gone through it. So tell me about yourself. What that is not in your resume.
Like obviously in my resume, very limited things are there. That is, and there are a lot I can say about, and even anyone can say. I come from a state called Bihar, that is in India itself. From last 7 years, I am working in IT industry, and I can say like my experience in working industry is quite good as of now, and I'm looking forward to like working and work in IT industry. Apart from my technical skills, like in day-to-day life, I have many other interests as well, like social and political, you can say. And let's see.
Oh, I see. So you are interested in political work as well. Great. So
I do it.
okay. Anyways, and okay. So tell me about your last project. What was your role and responsibility there, and what things were you doing there? So can you briefly tell about that one?
Yes, sure. So the previous project which I was working, that was Club Corp. That is one client from USA, and the main work that Club Corp itself is a chain of clubs. So it's obvious that they might have a huge volume of data for different activities or different services they provide. So in my project, my specific role was to like as a tester, developers used to like write codeds and pipelines to migrate the source data, like initial event data comes that is not structured or cleaned or anything, right? So we were getting the raw data, and from that raw data we used to transform the data, clean the data, and we used to make it as a information. And then through different processes, like we had different tools for processing the ETL data. That was SnapLogic. We had a MDM tool, that is a cloud-based tool called RelTio. So using these tools, we used to do is we used to transform the data, clean the data, and ultimately we used to store the data that becomes an information. That data was used to stored in data warehouse. So you can say that that is one central repository of data. From that point, from that space, like based on requirement, that data used to go to different downstreams, like whatever the requirement is. So this was the whole process, and my specific role was to whatever pipelines are being written, coded, and all. My responsibility was to test those jobs or pipelines, you can say. Sometimes I used to like they used to create APIs. That API will we used to give some payload. It will go to RelTio, create some data. Again, data will get extracted to different layers, and it will go to downstream. So those specific APIs were written. My role was to automate the execution of those APIs, so that whatever expectation is from that APIs, that is getting completed. So
Okay.
like as a tester, I did these works.
So are you maintaining some framework, testing framework, automation based testing framework, and manual testing framework, like maintaining scenarios, test cases? Do you have something like that? What technology stack regarding testing you
Yes.
are using?
So when I'll say about the like execution of test, so we were using one automation tool. It cannot, I can say it is tool that it is a framework, like Python based framework, that is PyTest, that was being used to automate the test execution. But for like maintaining the test cases and all, we had Jira, where we used to maintain test case, and in that those process, it was known to like all the hierarchies. They had access to those test cases. They can comment there. They can like give feedback. We can log defects there during the execution. So you can say like for automation, we were using PyTest. For test management, we were having Jira. For ETL, like data processing, we had SnapLogic, and we had one MDM tool that was like storing the golden records. That was Reltio. And for database, we were using Postgres. So these were the technologies combinedly we were using to get our work done.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So, let me tell you something. This particular interview will be categorized into couple of rounds. Okay. And to test your ability and your thinking process about the Q and all those stuffs. So I will be asking 4 or 5 questions in each category. Okay. So for the very first category, I'm starting with manual testing, QA manual testing. So, and then I will proceed to the automation testing, and then some QA process and management. And I think that's it. That's it. So there will be 3, categorical kind of rounds where you will be asking. I will be asking you different questions. Okay.
Okay, sure.
So the first category which is the manual testing, I will be asking you some QA scenario based question and some process related question as well. So it's a kind of mix up. So have you ever written test plan document?
Yes.
Okay. What is it, test plan?
So like when we have a project, suppose it comes, when like first we define a test strategy that is defined on project manager role, whoever is having that role. They define a test strategy. Based on that test strategy, whoever is the test lead, or I can say test manager, their responsibility is to create a test plan. As part of test plan, what we can do is we need to like specify what features we will be testing, what tools we are using, what like in uh, project strategy we will be having a team structure. We need to schedule like how they will work. That can be also done as part of test plan, like working shifts and all we can define. What will be the test pass and fail criteria that will be mentioned there. What will be our scope of testing, that will also be defined in test plan. So like combinedly we can say this is the test plan that on ground level, like whoever will be working testers, they need to follow this process and get our work done. So that document should be laid out first before testing begins, and it should be known to each and every tester. This is the schedules, this is these things we are doing, this is our scope of testing and all.
Okay, so great. All right. Okay, let's say you are in a position where you get a new application, a very brand new application. Okay. Many of the things is not that clear or not well documented. So, and you are still trying to understand the functionality, and you have some action plan. So what document do you refer? What document do you ask actually to understand the brand new application, its feature and all those stuffs?
First of all, for starting with testing, whenever testing like this term will come, first we need to have understanding what is the requirement, what is being done that needs to be tested. So first of all, for starting this, we need to have a requirement document first, whether all other documents have been documented it or not. But for starting testing, first we need to have a requirement document. Based on that, even if I don't have a particular set of document, we can create that from there itself. But initially we need to have a requirement document plan. Based on that, we can move further. Even if some once we go through the requirement document, we will understand what needs to be done. Then we can think how it needs to be done. Then we will decide what tools and all will be required. So I will say, first of all, we should have a requirement document. Then if other documents are not there, that can be created from there itself.
Okay, so have you heard about BRD, Business Requirement Document, SRS, System Requirement Documents, and RFP, Request for Proposal? Have you heard about these terms? What is the difference?
Yes, I have heard about these terms, but like I was never involved in doing that one, but I am aware of those terms, like business requirement document, BRDs. I know, like it lays out the requirements, whatever functional requirements are there, functional or even non-functional requirements, all will be there. Then once we have a like BRD, then we analyze the BRD. Based on that, we propose a solution. That request for proposal. Client will like analyze the RFP document. If they will find it feasible that yes, our work will be done based on this, then they might accept or reject the proposal based on that. So RFP we send it from like if we are a testing team, we send it to our manager, they send it to client, and then like decisions are being made. One more thing you asked, can you come again?
System requirement.
BRD, RFP, and
the system requirement document. Yeah, as far as system requirement is specifications, anything.
SRS, I heard, but I didn't remember right now.
Okay, not an issue. Okay, one more question regarding this. Let's say BRD is not clear to you, and you have your team is going to. I do understand that BRD is not written by internal teams; it is written by customer. Okay, they send it to us, and many of the things is not clear in the BRD. Okay, and you, let's say you have a team of 5 or 6 members, and they have different questions. So how do you approach those questions, those queries? How do you clarify your team members' queries and clarification? What is your approach actually?
If I'll be in that situation, like requirement document itself is not clear, and I need to like I'm a bridge between client and my testers, then I think my responsibility will be to make a central like anything, any sheet or something that is visible to me as well as testers. We can take queries from them. I'll see if I can answer them directly, then it is fine. Otherwise, I will try to communicate with my project manager. They will try to communicate with client. We can scheduled not daily, then at least 2 or 3 days based on like availability. We can schedule meetings where we will be available. Some of people from either management, our management, or from client will be available, and we can discuss there whatever our queries. We will put forth that queries to the client, and we will seek a clarification. So that way, I think even after like project is starting, we always see, right? Even we are in the mid of the project, that time also we come through some of the things that is not like quite understandable, quite we are not understanding that one. So it is always good to get the clarification before proceeding, because like if we assume something and that is not the case, then we might end up doing something else that will be costly. So it is always better if whenever we have any doubt, or my team is not understanding, or even I am not understanding, we should always try to make a bridge where we can like we can always talk to clients either directly or indirectly to get the clarification that done before we proceed for our work.
All right, yeah, so great. Yeah, that is the exactly way industry follow, and that's it. We say clarification tracker. So we always have a
Yes.
clarification tracker in terms of anything. Maybe it's a
Yeah,
Google
it
Sheet or
might be
something.
internal or even external, like
Yeah, definitely. It may be a
yeah.
Confluence page, it may be a something. So that is not a point. The point is ki we maintain, we can't ask random questions, we can't arrange random meetings. Okay, so we must have to take the questions somewhere and we ask it. So yeah, that is nice. Okay, good. So what is the difference between scenario, test scenario, okay,
Hmm.
and test case?
Like if I talk about a test scenario, uh, it's a abstract thing, right? Suppose I'll test my bike is getting started or not.
Mhm.
So for that, if that can be a scenario, I can ask someone, my bike is not starting or not. So if I'll go to test that one, so there is nothing that directly it will start the bike. I need to follow a particular step that will lead to a starting of the bike. So by starting the bike is test scenario, but the step that I will follow to start the bike. So like what we do, we give the key, we like move it around so that lights in gone off, then uh, uh, we kick the bike, then it gets started. So you can say like the steps which we are following, the steps which we are following to test a particular scenario, that is test case. And as abstract, this is a scenario that I need to start the bike.
So
I
if I am
may
not,
did you
if,
understand, or I can
yeah,
give
I am
another
getting you,
example?
but if I am not mistaken, then you are saying three things: test scenario, test step, and test case. Okay, so uh, okay, just like a bike, you said whether a bike starts or not. So a bike can be started in many ways. Okay, so
Yes.
that many ways is the test case, and if one of the way I am trying, so there is a several steps of that way. Okay, that is the test
Yes.
step. So just like login scenario in our case, IT industry. So login is a scenario, and there is several way of doing the logins. Okay, so
Yes.
test case, there is a difference between test step, test case, and test scenario. So
Like
obviously, test scenario
combinedly, a
is,
test step is can be said collection of test cases, right? Like collection of test step is one test case,
yes,
that we can say.
definitely. Yeah. You got me. So yeah. So test step and test, initially I get an impression you are saying test step is a test case. So collection of test step is one test case, and there can
Okay,
be
okay.
several test cases. A collection of all those things which is related to a one particular category, that is a test scenario.
Yes, yes,
Okay, got it. All right. So let's talk about bug. QA guys loves bug. Okay.
yes.
So what is the difference between severity and priority of a bug?
Like when we get a defect, then if a tester logs a defect, first of all,
Mhm.
then we need to mention whether the severity and the priority of the defect, so that when these bugs goes to higher management or even client,
No, I am talking
they
about what is the difference between severity and priority. Severity and priority.
yeah.
I do understand ki, yeah, we have to put every bug has this two feature and we communicate it to the team members and other guys. But I am
pri-
asking
uh,
what is the
when
difference between these two?
yes, priority is like how quickly we need to fix that bug, but severity of a particular bug defines how devastating it can be. Like it might like how this may hamper the growth of testing itself, how it may block the testing itself. So that based on that, we define the severity of a particular mm, bug, and priority we define how quickly we need to fix a bug.
So if that
So
is
in
so,
some case,
if that is
okay,
so, then can you give me an example of scenario which have a high priority and low severity, and another one is the high severity and low priority? Can you give me a
yeah,
scenario
yeah, let
example?
me think that. Give me some time. I'll
Definitely.
explain. So if I talk about a particular bug that is having priority high but severity low. Suppose I have a page, right?
Mhm.
In a in that page we have a table, web table, web page. We have a web page where we have a table, and in that table, for there are many multiple other components in that UI. One of that is table. So my scroll down is not working in that particular page, right?
Mhm.
But we still have other functionalities available there that can be tested. So but if I will not fix this scroll uh, up and down, then we cannot see all the records. So I will keep this bug in a high priority, but I will keep this in low severity, because if I do not like, because of this particular defect, my whole system is not stuck. I can always go to some other component and test they are working or not, but this particular component will be stuck. So I will give this a priority high because it needs to be fixes to test that particular component. But as a whole, this particular defect is not hampering my overall testing. I'm not blocked anywhere.
So
So I
do severity have something with block and overall testing?
this is my understanding. Like suppose mm, I'm testing a database application, right?
Mhm.
So my
Anyways,
database
anyways.
memory
So
is
what
out of,
category have you
like,
put that scenario? Scrolling is not working, and you have put it in what
this
category?
is priority high, severity low.
Severity low, a priority high. Okay. And what is the high severity and low priority bug?
I don't think there if any bug that is high severity can be low priority.
There is no such kind of bug. You think?
Mm, let me think.
Okay. So I have a limited time, so that's why let me offer you one scenario. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
as you said, I am just repeating your statement only. Ki severity has to do with devastation of the product. Now, what comes under the devastating thing for a company? So first thing is the reputation. Company reputation is very important. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So our product represent the company. So that is, if something is hampering the reputation, okay, some user experience is not good and something is, so that is devastated thing for a company. This is one thing. Another thing is the on what platform, like what laptop, OS, all those things are very important for a company. So if your product get installed on a particular system and it hamper that system, okay, so again company reputation is hampered. So that is another devastating thing. So severity has to do with the some devastated thing. one
No, I,
scenario one scenario
okay.
which is of high severity but low priority is the let's say company logo. Every website at the right leftmost upper corner there is a company logo. Hmm?
Yes. Yes.
Company logo is broken. It is the CSS or the padding is not proper and the website is opening. Okay.
Okay.
So whenever a very reputed company there is some issue with the logo, okay, so that gives a very poor reputation about the company. They have made a huge tremendous amount of functionality in their application, but the logo itself is broken. Okay, so it has a very low priority. Obviously logo is not going to affect us other functionality, but it has very high severity because the company reputation is affected. Okay, so low priority, we can do it later in our sprint, but it is of high severity. So I think you must understand what severity is. Okay,
Okay.
are you agree with me or not? All right.
Yes. Like, yes, I can agree with you. Like this is like when we are testing what devastation or blocker or like these things, I was talking in terms of testing. Like it
Yeah, so
might
in terms
block
of
entire
testing,
testing.
I am
Yeah.
even talking about in terms of testing only because in real world scenario, very less people, we often say, theoretically we say ki we put severity and priority to a bug, but in originality very less people put severity in the Jira. Severity is only a token terms, and there are many severity related scenarios, and they all are testing scenarios. Like you download application, you download a file and your system crash. So it is a severe thing. It's a very severe thing. It's something you are downloading, and that file is getting corrupted or something like that. So I do not know what is behind the scene, but it is not stopping other functionality, other scenarios get blocked because of this thing. So system, cracking the system, breaking the logo, all those things are severe thing, not priority things, because they are not interdependent. The functionality are not interdependent. So in real world, we never put severity column. Very less people have a habit of, they talk theoretically ki every bug have a severity and priority, but very less people put severity in this. Everyone works in a sprint, and they talk about priority items, not the severe items. So
Yes.
so testing, obviously I was talking about the testing point of view, we miss this thing, but yeah, we have to keep this thing in mind ki, is it severe or not. Anyways, that's good. Okay, so let's talk about priority only. Great. So what is the life cycle of a bug? Life cycle of a bug. Do you know life cycle of a bug?
Yes. So the term itself explains like how long a bug will remain, and duration, total duration or stages which a bug goes through before it is fixed. So we have different stages a particular bug can go through. So first of all, when we get a bug, as a tester, what we do is we log that bug to any test management tool we are using, whether it is HPA, LM or Jira or whatever. So first we log the bug there. We obviously give whatever we understand. Based on that, we decide what might be priority and severity. First, when we log a bug, we give a status to a particular bug.
Yeah, so
We
I'm
give
talking
it
about
a
the
name.
status only. Correct. You got me.
Yes, yes. So we give a status as new. So when I log the bug, then it I will give it a status. Then it will be assigned to a developer. Then they will see what bug is, what explanation I have given. Based on that, they can decide whether it is a bug or it is not a bug, or maybe it is out of a scope. So if they decide this is a bug, then they accept it, and then we communicate. They communicate to us, and we give the status as open. Okay.
So there is
First,
something called ready for development in between, because you can't open a bug. They can say ki it's a ready for development. They accepted it's a bug, so you can
yes.
mark it as a ready for
Once
development.
they accept it, we open it, and then we discuss it with our lead, whoever is, and then we assign it to a particular developer.
All right.
Like they say, then it is ready for development. And
Oh, I see.
once it is ready for development, then they will fix it. They will say retest. They can assign the status to fixed. Then tester will look into the defects. What are the fixes that has been done. Based on that, we uh, test the bug. If it passes, then we go through the closure process. If it is not passes, then we put the status as failed. Then again they fix it. Then
Yeah, I got you.
they give
I
it to
got
us.
you. I will
So
only
there are
give.
many.
I got you. I got you. I can understand that there are many flows. The only thing is that ki ready for development should come before open. Uh, you open a bug and you assign to some developer. Either ready for development should not be there, or it should be ready for development, and any developer who is free, they can pick it and they can assign to themselves. Anyways, there are numerous flow, but I got you correctly. Yeah,
Yeah, there
correct.
are 7 to 8 status, and based on the tool, suppose I am working on a specific tool, we might not have all the statuses.
We can create our own custom status
Yes,
or
yes, yes.
steps as well. So
So
there is
based on our approach testing process, we define that thing.
definitely, I agree. All right, great. So, okay, and have you done RCA? What is this RCA? Root cause analysis.
So like when we are testing any component and whatever we are testing, whenever we get a bug, so we cannot directly send this we can communicate to developer or even our senior management that I have found a bug, that I need to communicate with them that I found a bug on this component and what it might be the root cause of particular bug, and we need to provide all the proofs, and then it will go to a developer. Otherwise, if I randomly say I got a bug for a function n,
So
that will not make any sense.
if you say this, then whatever testing do, whatever tester do, everything is a root cause analysis, because finding a bug, analyzing it, and communicating it back to the developer, all things
bugs
will be root cause.
no, all bugs I think do not need cause analysis.
Mhm. Okay,
Like
so
if I'm
let me ask you one
testing a
question.
GUI, okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
if I'm testing a GUI, I see columns are not ordered.
Mhm.
We can directly say to my developer that this is the problem, but what I can say, my system itself is not responding.
Mhm.
Then if I say the system is not responding to the developer, they will not understand what actions I am performing that is causing this. So
Yeah,
that
you
will be
can simply write STR, step to reproduce. You can write it STR and they can follow it. Yeah, they can have a meeting with you and they can see ki your
so
system is not working.
yes, that like root cause analysis, like what I understand is not every defect need root cause analysis. Root cause analysis is required when at the moment I am finding the bug, I do not understand why it is happening.
Okay,
Then I
then
need to
let me
deep
tell
dive
you.
into that to understand why it is happening.
Okay, okay. So let me give you one scenario, one situation where you are in. So you have done enough testing, your things, your sprint, your release went fine. All right, and
All right.
uh, and you miss some bug. There is some bug in the production. Some customer has found some bug in the construction and
Okay.
they logged it. Okay, so when customer find a bug, it means that you miss a bug. A tester, an internal team, a
Yes.
QA team missed a bug. Developer miss a
Yes.
bug. You miss a bug, or your entire team miss a bug. Okay, okay, and your manager is being informed by client, hey, this is very obvious bug, very simple bug, and some customer found it, and you claim during the sprint and release everything is fine. How did you miss that? What do you do in that case?
Or that will also called root cause analysis.
Yeah, so you can't say ki, if I go by your definition na, then everything which tester do, matlab simple thing which tester do is obvious thing, simple thing, everything which tester do is not root cause, but every complicated thing and tough thing and whatever tester do very complicated everything is root cause by your definition, but that is not the root cause analysis. Okay, root cause analysis is very much specific for a QA life, is very much specific to a miss of a production bug. Matlab some production bugs comes na, be it a simple bug or be it a very complicated bug, be it a process wise we missed something, some process we have missed, so we do internally in our team who is responsible. Uh, a particular person is responsible or our process is responsible or something which missed, so entire things come under root cause. Okay, although
Okay,
it's a
got it.
generic word, it's a very generic word. Any people outside IT organization can do root cause of their, the root cause analysis be done something when, customer and, manager, all those discussion. Okay, let's fall back what we did in past. and where we missed it. So we start, analyzing our past and so that comes under root cause analysis for a QA guy, at least I know. Okay. All
Okay.
right. All right. Okay. What is difference between sprint and a release?
Hello.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Okay. So, what was the question? Is a difference between
Sprint and a release.
okay. So, sprint, like I can say, for a particular release, we can have multiple sprints, and sprint, I can say, multiple stages of developing a particular piece of code, and then once the code is developed, then we deploy it to production as a release. So I can say, like when a particular piece of code is being developed, then we can like break it into multiple sprints. And once I am done with all the sprints and my test, like in this is agile methodology, right? So development and testing, all everything goes on parallelly. So once all my sprints are completed, then we can say that my product is ready for the release, and then we can release it. And one product, like complete system, might consist of multiple releases.
All right. So what is hotfix bug and what is spike?
Hotfix bug and
what is spike? Do not relate them. They are different thing. Are you familiar? Have you heard the word hotfix? And have you heard the word spike?
hotfix I have heard, but I did not like know the description. I have
Okay,
I
no
have
issues.
heard these terms.
No issues. So during the sprint, tester tests, bugs are being fixed, and you reach to a stage where release is going to be happen, and you find bug during that time. So actually, when your entire sprint is done, so we block our GitHub. There will be no further push happening in that branch. Okay, release branch.
Okay.
But all of a sudden we find some bug in that release branch, so we give some hotfix. Okay, we give some hotfix, and so those bugs related to that is called hotfix bugs, and spike is different thing. So I will not define those things. I will be asking you to see those things by yourself. Anyways,
Okay.
Other thing which I wanted to know from you, like how do you test? How do you collaborate with developer? Like one developer have an PR. Do you understand what is PR?
PR.
Yes, PR.
No, can you elaborate?
Pull request. Developer gives pull request. Na?
Yes.
They create a branch, they work on it, and they bring some
Yes,
feature.
that is in Git.
Yeah, so you get a pull request to test their work. Okay, so how do you collaborate with developer to test their functionality? Okay,
So
let's say you get
what
a
I
pull
can,
request from a developer. A developer has taken a Jira, taken a bug, and he create a master from the master branch or some branch. He created a feature branch or a development branch, and he is trying to put some fixes about that bug. The fix is there, and there is a PR in the GitHub. There is a pull request in the GitHub, and you have been asked to test that PR. So what do you do basically?
so what I can do is I will be having my own branch, right? My like GitHub project space, so I can pull the code of developer, whatever fixed code they have written, and I can pull that code to my local branch, and then I can test it. That can be done.
So you can test it. So how do you bring your test environment? How do you bring up your application? In your last project, how do you get your testing environment? How do you get your environment to test?
So like suppose we have different applications, different tools involved in development, as well as that comes into play in testing, right? So for testing, we create a different set of environment. Like if suppose one product is having one development environment, at the same time when testing will begin, we need to have the same version, everything is same, but that should be in test environment. So for all application, we create different test environment, and then I collaborate with all those environment to like get my work done. I work in those environment itself. That is completely different from development environment.
Okay,
So you
so
can
have
say a
you ever
separate
worked in a
space.
stage? Yeah, I do understand stage environment, testing environment, development environment. So have you ever worked in a testing model where you collaborate with a developer, they raise PR? Let's say you are in a team where 3 developer is there and you are a QA for them. So 3 developer at the same time raise 3 pull requests. Okay, and you are testing, so you are testing their applications differently. So have you worked in this kind of model where the pull request is there and you are asked to, and there is no environment, there is no URL, okay, which you are testing. You have to bring up your own environment as per their branch. Okay, you have the entire application you are bringing up with the help of some Docker or Kubernetes or some testing technologies. So have you worked in that kind of model?
No, Rajiv, actually I did not work with Git 8, but I know the functionality how it works, but in real time I did not work with Git.
Okay, no issues, no issues, because many times, you have to work with developer, they raise the pull request in GitHub, and you have to bring up your own environment every time with their branch, and you have to test their bug. Anyways, no issues. This is another thing, area
Means
where
you are saying suppose if I'm working like as a tester and I need to collaborate with developers to test the thing, so I will have my application installed in my laptop and I will have a personal space, right? So
Mhm.
suppose there are 3 developers. One is has given me a pull request. I need to pull his code, so I will be pulling that code in my space and test it. So when the developer number 2 will give me a pull request, I need to have a separate space for that.
No, you can simply close the first, application, and you can download that one, and you can again up the application in the same space, and you can do whatever you do. Similarly for the third one. Okay. And if you believe that their work is not suffice enough, you can comment, okay, your work, this is missing, that is missing. And for the second developer, you commented on the PR pull request, you pasted the screenshot, you given even artifact and evidence, yeah, the work is not complete, and the developer one have to work again. So he will be taking care. For developer two, you will be cleaning your local workspace, and you will be downloading again the pull request, and you will again starting the application in your same workspace. And you find that this developer has done sufficient work, the coverage is good, test cases are good, manual testing is suffice enough, automation test cases is written, then you will approve the pull request. Yeah, from the QA point, this work is looking good, and his work can be merged forward. So this way, you do not require different workspace. Many company, what they do, they have a common testing environment, and they push their work to that one. Okay, but in that way, it is very difficult to say which developer's works is breaking the application. So obviously, there are many ways of doing this stuff. We are following this particular convention: pull request and QA involvement. Okay. Uh, all right. What do you mean by regression, sanity, and smoke testing?
Okay. Sorry. So we have 3 terms like sanity,
Regression,
regression,
smoke.
and smoke. So I'll start with smoke testing. So whenever we start testing, like for a particular application with or a particular component itself, first we need to make sure my system, my infrastructure, I have for testing, that is working fine or not, so that I can start the testing. For example, suppose I have a pipeline. I'm saying in terms of database, I have a pipeline which takes some data from a table, converts them and loads it to somewhere, to a target.
Mhm.
So if once my developer says like this development is complete, before starting the test with actual data and actual amount of data, what I will do is I will run the application without any data. So like it will run, it will run successfully, but it will not create anything, but it will tell me that it is not breaking anywhere. My application will work smooth if I now test with data. So for that we perform smoke testing.
Mhm.
Once my smoke testing is completed, then we go for like actual testing. When it comes to regression, what happens, like we all know, right? So
After
if
smoke, you will jump for regression.
no, I'm not saying I will go for regression.
Okay.
After smoke is completed, then my actual testing will start.
Okay.
Then I'm coming on this term regression when we do it.
Okay.
So suppose we have application, we have tested it. So what happens, we get multiple bugs during testing, right? So suppose I fixed a bug,
Mhm.
I have logged a bug, developer says it has been fixed, I am fixing that bug. So I cannot simply give sign of like, yes, fine, this bug is fixed and everything is fine. A particular fixation of a bug might cause some other problems to other like in other functionality. So before I am saying everything is fine, I need to make sure because of this bug some other components have not been affected. So for that I need to perform regression testing. I'm did you get my point?
Yeah, yeah, I got your point.
Okay. So and actually suppose a particular project goes to production, so it always like needs some support, right?
Mhm.
Bugs comes and gets fixed. So every time I need to perform this regression testing. That is why this concept of automation in regression testing has come, because every fix of a bug will require regression testing, and if I do it manually, then I need to do it n number of times. That is why these tests are repeated tests. So it is recommended to automate these type of test cases. And when I okay, when I talk about sanity, so what happens, suppose I'm working on a application, I have a fixed bug to fix, like I have a bug to retest. So
Mhm.
what happens, sometimes we have uh, sufficient amount of time for regression testing, but sometimes what we face, we have a bug to retest, but we do not have sufficient of time, sufficient amount of time to retest all of them and perform regression testing. So that time what we do is, uh, for testing those bugs, we fix like we test those bugs, but I need to test other some functionality on high level, right?
Mhm.
So if I do not have sufficient amount of time, then what I do is just I do kind of exploratory testing, you can say, to check on high level this functionality is working, if functionality B is working or not, functionality C is working or not, and then based on that we give the sign up. So if I do not have a sufficient amount of time, and I do not have time to follow a particular procedure for a regression, that time we go for sanity testing. So you can say sanity testing is a subset of regression testing as well.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, what is unit test and what is integration test?
So unit test, like this is first testing when a code is getting written. This is the first testing, and it is being done by developer. So what happens, in a particular application we can have multiple individual components, right?
Mhm.
So if a particular developer is responsible for writing a particular a individual component, once he completes his code, he need to perform a testing that whatever he has written is working fine or not. So that is called that is called unit testing. And most of the times developers are responsible to complete the unit testing. But once individual components are developed and tested by developers, they give a request to QA testing team to test the application. So once all the individual components are developed and tested by developers, we need to perform whether the combination of all those individual components as a unit are giving expected result or not. So that is called integration testing, where we will test the overall outcome of a a system that is combination of multiple individual components. So that can be called integration testing.
So is regression test and integration test quite same?
Okay.
How can you relate or how can you differ?
Integration test is like during development, like once you can say after just after unit testing we go for integration testing. But for regression testing, once one cycle of testing should be completed, then we will go for regression testing. That is also testing same thing again and again, like all the components in an application. uh, for regression we need to test all of them, but first when testing phase will start, uh, code will be written, unit testing will be performed, then it will come for integration testing. But the stage of the sorry, this one regression testing is not here. Once my testing first phase of testing is completed, then we have so many defects that will be retested. That time of at that point of time I need to perform the regression testing. So
No,
stages
I
are
got you.
different.
I got you. I totally got you. You have a very clear understanding of these words. But okay, what is E2E test? E2E test, end-to-end
Okay.
testing.
Okay. What happens? Suppose uh, like integration testing. Just I was telling that one. So it is a like combination of multiple components. It makes a system. But for what I can say, it might not be a complete system. For example, if I give you example, I think I can make you understand that in my previous project, in a particular time I was working on something. What was happening is I have a particular set of environment. I need to test a particular system, that was customer integration test system. So what I had to do is I was responsible for testing sourced up to target that is within my range. So as part of integration testing, I did that one. But after my data is stored in data warehouse, that data will go to multiple downstreams as well. So when I will perform system end-to-end testing, I need to make sure whatever result I am producing, that result will be accepted by other system that is linked to my system. And my response is like the format or whatever output is going, that is acceptable to them. And then the system, like all process is fine. So for that, how what we were doing is my next system was not our range, so we had other teams. So I need to collaborate with them, that once my execution is complete I need to inform them. They will take my output and they will perform their like testing at their end, so that overall system, like it can be a set of multiple uh, system you can say. So if overall system works fine, then I can say my end-to-end testing is completed. So one application cannot be simply a standalone. It might be like connected to
No,
some other
okay, okay,
applications.
stop. So the point is na ki my purpose of asking this question was, uh, you have heard technical jargons like functional testing, non-functional testing, integration
Okay,
testing, system
I was
integration.
coming to that one. Okay, I
Yeah.
was coming
So
to that
so
one.
so not an issue. I got you.
Oh, what I can say, like this is a difference, or also like integration testing and system testing. in integration testing, we do not perform usually non-functional testing. But when it comes to system testing, or you can say end-to-end testing, apart from functional testing, we need to make sure non-functionalities of the system is also fine, because it is also very important.
Yeah, so in our team city and CI/CD tool, you will find ki we guys are using unit test and E2E test. These two technical jargons we are using. So you must have a very clear picture, as you have given a very exact, not near. You have given very exact answer of my question. So unit test you do understand well, and E2E test contain integration test as well as non-functional part of the test, performance test as well. So in a broader picture, there are functional category of test and there are non-functional category of test. And the functional category of test include regression test, smoke test, sanity test. So this is the overall. Otherwise, there is a lot of testing technical jargons: smoke test, sanity test, this test, that test. So our project is basically based on unit test, E2E test, and E2E test is collection of a performance test as well as integration test. Integration test means UI test as well as a REST API test from automation point of view. So great,
Okay.
great. Just I reiterate these words to make you more clear and exact about this one, because you will be listening these things.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So great, great. And I have asked you many questions around QA and all those stuffs. In next 15 minutes, it will be continue for next 15 minutes, and I will wrap up. Okay. So I will be taking your ability to analyze scenarios. Okay. I am giving you some scenarios. I want to hear some test cases. Okay. And the scenarios are, let's say you are testing some email related scenario. Okay. So how do you test? The email scenario can be like while registering as a user on application, you are asked to give your email as a mandatory field. Okay. And you are receiving some mail and some tokens are coming, so you are verifying yourself, so something like that. So I can't give you just email scenario. How do you test? Manually and with the help of automation. Have you ever been put yourself in that kind of situation?
Email testing scenario. In real time I did not perform that, but I can always try, right? So
Yeah.
let me understand the question first. You are saying I have a registration phase page where one field is email field, right? That is mandatory. I need to make sure this field is working fine. Am I correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
What test cases will you write for this particular scenario?
For this particular scenario, okay.
As a manual tester, I will come to the automation as well. So as a manual tester, what test cases will you write for this particular scenario?
Okay, let me think for some time. I will come back to you.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay, look, I have thought of some scenarios.
Go ahead.
So first of all, I need to check that that particular field is accepting email or not. So I will check first. That one I will check first. Then I can check for the format of the email, like whatever, like what domain we are using. So that can be checked. Then I can check if I'm putting the email and submitting the registration field, I am getting the mail or not. Then I can check what is the subject line of the mail I am getting. I can check what is the content of the mail I am getting, that I can check.
Mhm. Okay, one quick question here, a small
Okay.
question, not related to
Okay.
testing, but your understanding of the application. Like, do you know if I am going to provide, you are going to test format of an email, like email should have must have at the rate and dot and some so the how developer implement or check, I am not asking the code. Do you know okay, how this format of an email can be checked?
Well, like emails can have different formats, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely. But email must have at the rate. You will never find an
yes,
email
yes, yes,
ID
yes, yes.
which do not have a at the
Must
rate in
have
it.
one at the rate and domain that is permanent. In
Uh,
between, we can have many things.
yeah. So how a developer or how you as a automation tester is going to check the format of an email? Have you heard regex,
Yes,
regular expression?
yes.
So obviously
Right.
developer has put some regex written for email validation. Okay. Another
Yes,
thing is that your email name is already taken. How do you validate that?
sorry, can you come
Your
again?
email is, have you fallen into some scenario where you are trying
Mhm.
to give some email ID and it is already taken? It is already taken by someone. Someone already has registered with that email. So you cannot use. Have
Yes,
you
yes, yes,
mentioned
yes.
this scenario?
No, I have not mentioned here.
Okay. Anyways, so there can be lot many complex and thoughtful scenarios other than the regular one, like I am getting mail in my mailbox or not. We have a subject line, we have a mail body, we have a mail signature and recipient and to and from, and we can check it, we can cc
Mhm.
bcc, we can check it always anytime because these are very regular mail scenario. But the functionality one,
Mhm.
like email is already taken by someone and your application does not allow to reuse of email. You can't have a two users with the same email id. So that is another interesting scenarios. Anyways,
Yes.
there can be far more scenarios related to it. I am interested in knowing, okay, how do you going to test it automation, the regular one? How will you test recipient, sender, who is the sender, who is the recipient, and what is the subject line, what is the mail body? These all regular scenarios. How do you automate these scenarios?
Let me think. So what I can do is like I will send. I can send one email like in registration form. Form whatever email will be sent. I can take the output and I can see. Suppose I am given a email ID. So once email is triggered, it is generating some output. I get an email in my email box with a proper format. So when I will automate that one, then the test cases I will write that will assert the outputs. Like suppose uh,
No, you know your respected emails to whom you are sending, and you have stored in some kind of variable. Okay, I do know. But whether it received or not to that email, how did you get the actual output? How do you get that? Will you write a REST API test cases or UI, or will
yes,
you Selenium test to log into that application and open that mail? What will you do?
I can
Interested to know that area actually.
I can write a API. If the response code of API comes at 200, I can make, like say that the email has been sent properly. That with a status code, I can validate. And also I can, if I'll write the API, the response which I am getting after email is triggered, I can always like navigate to those response and assert those statements during my testing. Like when response is received, this particular body
But
is
it is
available
not that
there,
simple,
this particular.
because
Hmm?
it is not that simple, because let's say you are sending some mail to Gmail or Gmail server or some Outlook server. The first thing is that you can't, you are testing your application, not a Gmail application, not Outlook application, and the REST API which you are talking about, they might not give you in the response body all those stuff which you are seeking. Okay, so to my knowledge, I believe ki establishing your own mail server. There are so many ways to create your own mail server instead of depending upon other third-party mail server like Outlook or Gmail or Yahoo or anyone email. We can create our own mail server. Okay, since we have created our own mail server, so we have a total control of that server, and we know what is the API and what are all those stuffs. So we can get all those information from the recipient side as well as the receiver side. Okay, and we can do the asserts and all those stuff. Anyways, uh, okay. The second scenario, as you
I
know,
got you. Like we can.
mhm,
You are saying I do not need to be dependent on third party like Gmail, Outlook, or whatever. I can always create my own application mail server, and I can customize that. And based on that, like do not have any dependency. I can have total control, and then I can test that one.
definitely, definitely, because that is the only way. Third party application always change their look, their pages, their way of login always changes. So your automation test cases will always fail. There even REST API can also change. So, but if you have implemented in your project your own mail server, like there is a green mail, there are many Java based, client. There are many Java based mail client and server you can create. You can create your own mail server and you can do your testing. So obviously mail based automation testing is not obvious one. It requires a lot of significant effort, and it is very different than the Selenium testing. Even Cypress give their own mail server, so it is a way very different than regular testing. Anyways, let's forget about it. Let me move to the next scenario. As you know, we are in data preparation field. We prepare data and we do a lot of operations on data like sorting, cleaning, appending, creating some graphs. So what happens na ki our customer always seeks a document, demands a document in order to track how many steps we have performed on a particular data set or some file. So for this purpose, we have a functionality, okay, which is preparing a document. Now, what I want from you, I want to test that functionality. Whatever the steps I have performed on my Excel sheet or some data set, CSV file or JSON file or XML file, all the steps which I performed is captured properly or not in that document. And after the download, I am downloading a document, is the things are fine or not. So how do you test this download, document preparation and download related scenario?
Okay.
How have you ever
So
done it?
download a specific, upload a specific. I have done.
Mhm.
Download a specific in practical world I did not do. But
Did you get my question? It is not only download, it is also
yes.
capturing the steps, preparing a document, first preparing a document online. Like I have performed and six number of stages on my data. So capturing all the steps which I done on the UI, preparing a document and then downloading it and proving that the steps are clear. The document content is fine. It is not messed up. It is not missing information. So did you get me the scenarios, the application user use case? First, have you understood this?
Suppose yes, I don't understand. Like I'll get clarification. Let me iterate that one.
Mhm.
So we have a page, okay,
Mhm.
any web page or Excel or whatever. Obviously, it is a web page. So you write some steps there, whatever steps you have performed on your data.
Mhm.
So you will write those steps there, and once you are done with that, you want to download that particular
Document,
file
document, yeah.
document, and you need to keep it in your local.
Now that is in my local
And
machine in some folder, and I want to see after opening the document, okay, everything which I captured and done, that is well documented, not messed up, and there is no missing information.
okay.
I want to test
So
it. manually
Okay.
as well as automation. Keep both things in my mind. What are the manual scenarios, manual test case scenarios will you keep in mind, and how will you automate those manual scenarios? First, talk about manual first.
Okay. So do you want to know like if since this page is a web page, you want to know web related other like functionality or specific to this page, it like this
Whatever
content?
comes in your mind, just say it all. Say it all. Whatever comes in your mind, because I have given you the scenario, you understood it well. So
Okay.
be it a web page, be it a window based, anything, networking related based, anything, whatever it comes in your mind, just say it.
So first, what I'll check is the content you are writing on the page. How many columns it is having. That will all. I think it is all. It will already be defined. Like what all columns will be there. So I can check those things. I can check how many rows are there. You will have like a fixed amount of step, right? So I can check that one. I will have a like a, if I am testing that one, I will have a content. So I need to validate the content that is expected, that is written there or not. So these things are like web related. Once I will download it, most of the most important scenario is the what format I am downloading. So what happens most of the times, I am downloading something, I'm seeing like something is visible on web page in a particular format. Once I am downloading that that thing, and I am saving it in different format that is not expected, then my content will be distorted. So I need to make sure like the format I am downloaded, that is accepted. Suppose I have written one HTML page there. I am saving it in PDF. So the content will be disordered. So this I think is one of the most scenario I need to test. And
Have you ever heard downloading some file on UI, which which obviously in which file format will you download, that is decided by the business, because when you download now, automatically if it is a PDF page, if it is a MP4 page or MP3 page, you download something from YouTube, that is not never going to download it in TXT file, that is always MP4 or some video related file. So obviously business decided, is it a document, is it is a voice, is it is a image, it is a video, so what file format should be there. So you can't say it ki, you are downloading something and you are changing the format type and the data gets corrupted. Okay, you can't say it, because obviously when you are given some downloading link or some something on the UI download button, so obviously they know what you are downloading, so they will download in some proper file format, so the file extension they know. Okay, they can
no, many
never
times I see
download
when I download a
documentation
video.
in a MP4 file, they can never download your file in MP3 file, since it's a document file. So all those file extensions like PDF, TXT, CSV, XML, JSON will be there. But again, they will not give you that much of leverage ki you are going to download something, some file in terms of, JSON or XML format. There will be always some PDF or some kind of, suitable file extension will be there.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I can
One
also
more thing.
take.
One more thing. Just hold on. Uh, uh, let's say you have downloaded file. File is proper. File is proper. Okay. And you change the extension of that file from PDF to, let's say, TXT. Okay. So, and I'm not bothering about ki your content is looks how or not. Will you consider this scenario or test cases for this project work, the work you are doing? Will you consider, after downloading the file, you are changing extension and you are verifying the content is good or not? Will you consider this in your testing or not?
It might be considered, like yes, it might be considered, but yeah, as you said, like I have downloaded a PDF file, I'm trying to open it with TXT, so it doesn't make sense. But yes, as a user perspective, like user is not technically trained someone, like he knows everything, so he might try to open a PDF file with notepad. So yes,
So,
I can include that one.
so you shouldn't, and you never, because user is not technically sound. That is not our problem. Okay. Uh, my application is working fine or not, my PDFs are well or not, that I can certain. But a user who is a layman, who can be anyone, what software he has installed in that, whether you have a Foxit reader or Adobe reader, or you do not have either of them, and he is opening in Notepad, that is not my concern. And I'm not going to ascertain that application in that point of view. Some users are very technical, they are playing, they are creating it a bad file. So my area is not including that one. You will never say ki I am going to test that as well, and you are going to consider. Otherwise, you have no idea how many scenarios you are going to test. Then you will also see ki user is using what kind of laptop, be it is a Mac or something like that. Okay, so your portion is only limited to what you are downloading, where it is being downloaded, the file location. That is also comes under your testing. When you download something, so whether does it go, is it go on desktop, or is it go in downloads folder of the user? So are we controlling that setting, or is there system related setting? So these things you have to be
Also, like on different browsers, on some browser it might, like we see, generally we see, if we go to download some software or some files on a particular browser, it is working fine, on other browser it is not working fine, so compatibility also we can check.
Yeah, definitely. So that's why I was trying to listen this from you. Since the folder location where it is downloaded is not decided by web application, it is decided by browser. Okay. Now,
Yes.
since after the download you are checking the content, so you have to know. That's why I was asking how will you automate those scenario, and what are the challenges? How will you automate where my file is?
Yeah, I see. Like for different browsers have different locations for default saving a file, downloaded file. So it will like I saw in case of which one, cookies. In case of cookies, different browsers save the cookie file in different locations. So that is not a fixed pattern. That is based on browser.
So how do you capture the file location where it is being downloaded, in Selenium, or in how do you capture? What is the what code do you use? Be it a Selenium or any technology. Have you ever done that?
No, in practically, I never did like automation testing.
If given to test this or automate this scenario, are you able to do this?
Yes, let me think.
Okay. 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 Just leave
I
this.
have
Mhm.
okay.
Let me talk about third scenario, the login one, the popular one, and the most generic one. I want to just hear from you, yes and no, that a user is trying to log in and he is not in the VPN. Okay.
He is not in the
VPN, virtual,
Acha.
he is not connected to some virtual private network. He is not connected. Okay. And the application will always log in when there is a VPN. Okay. You are not able. Will you consider this scenario in your testing or not? Yes or no? No explanation.
Can you come again the question?
Yeah. There is application.
Hmm.
Okay. There is a username password field and there is a submit button. And user is providing correct email ID, user is providing correct password, and he is submitting button and he is not able to log in because of the reason he is not connected to a VPN. Okay, because this is the reason. You have been in such kind of application in your past, haven't you?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Obviously. So the point is, will you consider this particular scenario? This is one of the scenario na, where you are not connected to a virtual private network and you are trying to log in into application. Will you consider this scenario in your test case or not?
I
Yes
think
or no?
no. I'll not consider this because the prerequisite of I need to fulfill prerequisite at least to log into a page or opening a window or anything. I need for that, and it can be different, like for different users, right? So
Yeah, I
but
agree with your answer, because no is the correct uh, answer for this particular question, but it depends. It depends, because networking, connecting to a VPN is related to networking, not the application.
mm,
It's a networking requirement of our application. Okay. So
mm,
if I am from networking team, or if I am testing some networking aspect of our application, obviously
mm,
there may be a case where I am not connected to a particular VPN, and I am still able to log in. So my networking team, they have allowed firewall or something, port number, they have allowed that thing. So that is not respected. So the point is na, ki as a QA guy, as a functional guy, we are a regular guy, there is some prerequisite of an environment, so we are not going to test these scenarios. But if I am from networking team and I am testing security and vulnerability part of it, so I will consider it. But that is a different discussion at all. So yeah, correct answer. In short, you are correct. All right, we will never test it. Okay.
right.
One last question, and that's it.
Mm,
In the support section of our page, we have some video. Okay, we
mm,
have some video demonstrating our project. Okay,
mm,
we are demonstrating in that video, we are demonstrating how we are doing this and that in our page to our end user. So I want to test that video first. Another thing is
mm,
that there are some ads in between those video which are coming at regular interval. I'm
mm,
not saying I'm trying to earn money with those apps, because I'm not promoting my app. But yeah, there are some small ads at a regular interval in that video. How will you test that video content as well as the frequency of ad? What scenarios will you consider? Manual scenarios and automation test cases. What technology and all those things will you use?
like I can in this scenario I can save some cosmetics scenario, but I'm not much aware of this ad scenario. You definitely asked me to do that. I have not done that. So ad based scenarios, I'm not actually aware of as of now. But simple
Okay.
video testing, that cosmetic scenarios I can tell you, or even uploading a particular video file or normal file to a application, or even on YouTube, that also I can tell you. But ad
Okay,
based
okay, just
scenarios,
leave for a moment. Okay, leave for a
mm,
moment. Another scenario I am giving you. I have my application, it's a data preparation tool.
mm,
So I have a huge file of a huge
mm,
file size, like 1 GB, and huge amount
mm,
of data is there. Uh,
mm,
so there is a progress bar. I am performing some action like sorting or something, some complicated mathematical operation on that huge amount of data. So it is taking some time, and there is a progress scroll bar. How will you test that progress of some mathematical operation on the UI? Obviously, I am asking from the automation point of view, because this is you are waiting. How long will you have to wait? Is it the network latency? I do not know. So whatever just speak out. What will you test with the help of automation, and in how you ascertain this thing
like
progress?
if we will have a content like that big content, then all obviously it is always difficult to open or read those files. So I need to have a proper understanding of how these files can be handled. So for that, I can write these scenarios. Like suppose I have a file. Suppose I have a file. I need to open that. So if I write a test cases, that how much time it takes to open that file, that can be on test case. I can write
How can you
like
ascertain that how much time a file can
no
take to
I
open?
for that I might have a accepted criteria already, right? So
No,
when we do performance testing,
a same file can open in less time at one point of time, and the same file can open taking more time at another point of time. The network
due
bandwidth,
to network congestion.
yeah, obviously your network is not constantly, the same. Your network is not constant. So how can you have a expected, timeline regarding a file upload or a download or a progressing stuff? You can't ascertain that.
Okay.
Similarly, you can have Ajax. I think you have heard about the word technique Ajax. In the ESPN Creek info, in the Creek bus, there is a section, score section, run rate section, all those stuffs. So that without loading the page, get updated. Okay, get updated. So you never know ki the next ball is going to be happen at what time. So that is also a progressing of some events on the page. Some events are being progressed. Someone is depending upon net. Someone is depending upon the actions, actual actions. How will you wait on that page? What score will be in the next time? How do you write your automation test cases for such kind of scenarios, Ajax things? That is my concern. That is my question, I guess.
Let me think. I first time hearing this scenario.
So have you been on the ESPN Creek info on Creek West page or some
Yes,
news
yes,
page?
yes.
There,
Yes,
there
yes.
are some part of page which are static. There are some part of page which are dynamic. We need
Dynamic.
not need to refresh the page to update it. They automatically get refreshed.
Yes, totally replaced.
Yeah, they automatically get changed. So there is something called Ajax running behind the scene, and that is causing that updation. I have to test some that kind of scenario. So what kind of automation things we are writing? Anyways, we have a limited time, so I need to move on. How do you
Okay.
write file comparison related scenarios? There are two files, they are image, and I want to compare that.
Then image,
Yes, image,
emails.
image, pictures, photos.
Oh, there are two image file.
Yeah, let's say I have uploaded one image file, and I have downloaded the same image file, image, pictures, JP file, PNG
Okay.
file. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
JPEG file. So I am comparing what I uploaded and what I am downloading, both are same. So I am doing image comparison.
Okay, understood. So for that, like one scenario can be like the what I am. Suppose I had a JPG format on my desktop. I am uploading it to web, and then again I am downloading it. So I need to make sure like format is same. Whether it is JPG
Out of
or
intuition,
uh,
out of intuition, I have said you the scenarios because the only clue was ki, how do you do the file comparison and what are the scenarios. So there are a lot many scenarios actually, but out of the intuition, I gave you one of the scenarios. No. How will you automate these things? Okay, how will you automate for comparing the file? What technology stack will you using?
we can have a like normal, if I to say non manual testing for comparing file, we always have many tools to compare those files.
What are those
But
tools? Can you name few of them?
yes, right now I am using this one scooter compatibility, beyond compare one. No, well, that is company name, I think. Beyond compare, that I am using quite regularly. And then again, I was using well, from a regular time. I'm
So
using beyond
beyond
compare.
compare, that is comparing file, but not image file. Do it compare image file?
No, 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 no. Okay, I thought you changed the subject from image file to normal file.
Oh no, I am talking how will you do image comparison? What tools do you use for image comparison?
No, for that one I did not use that one. But scenario wise, I can I can check for format of the file. I can check the like resolution of the file. Suppose I have uploaded a high resolution image on web, and when I am downloading it, the resolution is like it is distorted. So I will
I
check
got
for
you, got you.
resolution.
Image resolution and a diopter like DI, DPI, and pixels and image size, image file size, image content, all those. I got it. But in Cypress, in Cypress, and in there are many JavaScript library like Backstop.js, and there are Cypress do also have a visual regression tool, VRT tools. So those are doing those image comparison testing. Anyways, that is a different discussion. And one more questions, if you do not mind it, I want to ask, like, how do you test charts or web pages? The charts on web pages like histograms, like line chart or stacked graph or some kind of matrix. How do you test those things? What scenarios do you consider?
Let me think. Start with scenario. I did not. So actually, I can tell you some cosmetic, but high level I did not study that one. Something is pending, whatever you have suggested. So I'll go through that. But yes, when I'll check the pie chart of a particular data, I can check like the calculation that is shown there, that is correct or not. Like my x-axis, y-axis, if I go for graph, that is correct or not. Buildings are like building blocks, that is like representing things correctly or not. Suppose I have data, one is showing year 2020, one is showing 2010. I'm showing the length, like which is greater, which is lower. So yeah, I need to make sure like when I'm comparing those two, the length should be in that manner. So
So the
these things
point
I
is,
can suggest
if
as
the
of now.
chart get complicated, if the chart get complicated and doing mouse over on chart give you some information on tooltip, so I will, your naked eye, a tester naked eye is not able to capture the minute details of a chart. There are many minute details on a chart. Checking x-axis, y-axis, legend, all those things sounds quite possible when the chart is simple, not that informative, not that complicated. But as the some charts, some data, it is a data preparation tool, it's a data preparation world. There are huge amount of data, there are huge amount of information hidden in the data. So the chart that you get will be quite complicated, and it's very difficult for a naked eye to capture all the relevant details from a chart. So you might have to change your way of testing such graphs. Did you get me what I am trying to say?
This is what yes, you are correct on that part. Like in pie chart we can have multiple things. If I hover on a mouse, it might ask me to, for more details, it might ask me to move to other page, or it might have some description. So there may be a lot of things over the pie chart that like usually cannot be understood like just by seeing.
Yeah,
So
naked eye can't predict or calculate or collect all the information. You may
yes,
miss several things because charts, diagrams, graphs, they have several spikes, continuity, discontinuity. There are several information actually. You got slope, tooltip information, so you can't capture all the stuff. So obviously there are some way, there are some REST API call, and there are something related. Anyways, so it's nice talking to you, Sanjay. All right. These all are QA scenario based question which I tried to get your opinion on, and there were several testing related practices, mindsets I tried to get from you. So yeah, you're good. Just a little bit brush up more on functionality based scenario will give you enough confidence. Okay, so that's it from my
yeah,
side.
I know. I need I would like you to give me the feedback, like on which part I need to brush up more.
You can skip scenario based question which I asked from you. I just wanted to know, okay, have you prepared it or not? Are you in right uh, mindset or not? But you can skip because on Thursday you have that interview, so you can skip that part for now. You should more focus on PR, testing, release, sprint, spike, bug management, integration test, unit test, end-to-end test. Okay, this part, team city part, CI/CD. And in this particular mock interview, which I taken from you, I haven't asked a single question from automation testing point of view, like what is return of
Yes.
investment, and Selenium implicit, explicit weight, Java, Python variables, multi-threading, exception and handling, and analyzing report, execution report, and all those stuffs. Build to like Maven and Gradle, CI/CD tools like TeamCity and Jenkins. And I haven't asked a single questions on automation technology, QA automation technology, because
Yes.
I haven't prepared you in that way. Someone else has done in that way. So I do believe you will be able to handle that one. And another thing is that these two guys, Vitaly and Ivan, they are from Russia. They have different language accent. So you will find difficulty understanding their, questions. And from project point of view, they are very focused on their project. Since this particular client is highly mature project, it is not starting from scratch. It is already well developed and it is in the market from quite long time. So these guys who are interviewing you will not ask you question from scratch. They will always seeing their application. They are trying to take you from their requirement. They are not judging you based on how knowledgeable you are. Okay, so they will always talk the practices they follow, like PR, integration test, QA, integration test, E2E test, unit test, and release, spikes, hotfix, these scenarios, these things they will ask more. Okay, they will be around their product only. Okay, so the first part of this interview where I was asking you question that is more relevant at this point of time. The second part of interview where I was asking scenario based question, I just wanted you to be ready for that, because that part will, if you manage that partner, they will get impressed. Okay, they will get impressed. The first part is all about process and management, because in reality you may be in different kind of process. You may have different way of bringing up your own environment. You may have different way of collaborating with your developer. You may have different release cycle. This project have a different way of collaborating with the developer. This project have a different way of testing the application. This project may have a different way of bringing up their own test environment. This product have a different duration of a sprint. This project have a different duration of a release cycle. So in the first part, that I tried to give you some context: bug priority, severity, and Jira, Epic, user test scenario, test cases, test plan, BRD, SRS. These all things I talked a lot. Regression testing, E2E testing, I talked a lot. Okay, this was the first part, and the second part was scenario based question. These questions actually allow me to judge you, how knowledgeable you are, how vast you think for a particular scenario. So obviously every round of interview, I said there will be 4 or 5 round of interview. The first is the manual testing, functional testing related interview. Second is the automation related interview, how capable you are in coding, and how are you like a SDET, you are able to design or automate the scenarios or not. Third round maybe based on your experience and management, since you are a 7-year experienced guy. So how do you manage the situations, like there is a production bug, you missed it, and you come into that situation. You are a team lead of a project and you guys are taking leave all at the same time. So how do you handle that situation? And you are project manager, or you are a stakeholder, and something happened related to this one. How will you tackle that situation? How you collect the clarifications? How do you maintain the clarification? So some management related stuff, some agile testing. How do you do the scrum meeting? How do you estimate the effort of a Jira? Like you have produced a bug and developer is saying I will create a 5 days time. So how do you estimate a bug? What is the t-shirt size? What is chicken? What is peak? What is the retrospective meeting? All these things are there. So these are part of management, QA management. So there are several areas where your maturity, your understanding of project are being tested. Okay, so you can't prepare it all at once. You just keep reading on that day until you face that day. On that particular day, you will be channelized. And since you are given even enough opportunity to learn, and there are mock interview as well, like I am taking your mock interviews, there will be Somenda. He is 55, 56-year-old, and he have a different mindset, so he will be asking different questions from you. He have a different understanding about our project Paxata and Data Robot, so he will be asking different questions. So this will give you enough confidence, and I truly believe you will clear it. ऐसा मुझे लगता है. I truly found you will be clearing it. Okay, there is very less chance because you have get enough context. You will manage those guys, Vitaly and Ivan, those Russians. So don't worry.
I hope
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Rajeev, thank you.
So yeah.
You have given too much effort for me. I'll try to.
No, this is my habit. I I work in this way. No worries.